My name is Jane Eyre, and this is my Draw My Life. Shortly after I was born, both of my parents died from typhus fever. My Uncle Reed took me in, and after he died, I was left in the care of my horrible aunt and her terrible children, John, Eliza, and Georgiana. This is what I like to call the John Reed era of my life. John was always a bully to me and would constantly remind me of my poverty. One day, I was trying to read a book, and he threw it at my head, claiming that it was his. That's the day I snapped. I stood up for myself and treated him the way he has always treated me. I decided that day that I would never let anyone boss me around again. Standing up to John Reed empowered me, but it came with consequences. Mrs. Reed decided to ship me off to Lowood School, putting me under the authority of Mr. Brocklehurst and giving me the label of a liar. This leads me into the Mr. Brocklehurst segment of my life and my time at Lowood School. Lowood School was run by Mr. Brocklehurst, who despite his own enormous fortune, treated us poorly and starved us. He would call me a liar and a sinner and embarrass me in front of the whole school. One time he made me stand on a chair without food for a whole day. It was awful. But I turned out to meet my best friend, Helen Burns. Helen got the worst of the abuse at Lowood, but she held her spirits high. Sadly, she died in my arms, but was freed from her life at Lowood and became my angel. Mr. Brocklehurst, although a reverend, was the least holy person I knew. He lived his life in extravagance while treating us like dirt. He was such a hypocrite. I became a governess at Thornfield Hall, where the next chapter of my life unfolds. This is where I met Mr. Rochester. I soon met the housekeeper, Mrs. Fairfax, and my new student, Adele. I felt like I finally found a home. I still remember the day I met Mr. Rochester. I was delivering a letter to the post office for Mrs. Fairfax, and I helped him when he fell off his horse. He treated me like an equal, and we had deep, meaningful conversations by the fire. One night, I was awoken to find smoke coming out of Mr. Rochester's room. His bed was in flames. We were able to put out the fire, but not the flame igniting in our hearts. But there was someone in the way. A few weeks later, Mr. Rochester hosted a party to which Blanche Ingram came, who soon became his fiancée. Later in the night, a fortune teller came to the party. She questioned me about my feelings for Mr. Rochester, and I soon discovered that it was him all along. After the party, I was awoken by a scream. One of the dinner guests, named Mason, was stabbed. Mr. Rochester called me in to tend to his wound before suspiciously telling me to keep quiet. Later on, I found out my Aunt Reed was dying after John committed suicide. I asked Rochester for permission to visit her, to which he reluctantly agreed. Back at Gateshead, Mrs. Reed finally showed me a letter from an uncle I'd never known about. She died shortly after. When I returned to Thornfield, I took a walk with Mr. Rochester in the orchard. He told me he was going to marry Blanche, to which I finally confessed my true feelings. He told me he was only trying to make me jealous and proposed by the tree. After we got engaged, Mr. Rochester wanted to buy me everything. I felt like he was taking away my identity, a strong, independent woman. On our wedding day, everything was running smoothly until someone interrupted our vows. It turned out Rochester had a wife. Who knew? Her name was Bertha. She was locked up in the 3rd floor of Thornfield and never seen by anyone. Rochester tried to convince me to stay with him, but it was against my morals because I am an independent woman. I ran away from Rochester the next day without a plan of where to go. Broke and starving, I finally found a potential place to stay. And that's where St. John found his way into my life. St. John, Diana, and Mary nursed me back to health and saved my life. Once I was better, I asked St. John for a job, and he gave me one, teaching at a school. One day, he came to see me and told me that my uncle had died, leaving me a fortune. Feeling overwhelmed, I decided to split the money between the four of us because we were a family now. After that, St. John begged me to marry him and go to India with him where he would become a missionary. I said no because we didn't love each other, and he refused to listen. That's when I realized that I still loved Rochester. I quickly fled back to Thornfield to find out that it had been burned down by Bertha. I met Rochester at Ferndine and soon discovered that he was blind and missing his hand. I told him I still loved him and our passion restored his eyesight. We had a beautiful baby boy and lived happily ever after.